I'm taking the next 6 months to transform my life, and I'm documenting the journey. If you're chronically online like I am, I'm sure you've seen a ton of videos of people taking 60 days, 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, a year to change their life. And I have watched so many of these videos over the years. As I've been recovering from my wrist surgery over the past several months, I have also been watching a ton of these videos, mostly focusing on people who are taking 6 months to change their life. And I decided it was time for me to give it a shot. And this time, I don't mean taking days, weeks, or even months planning the perfect routine and laying out everything step by step just for me to fall off a week or two into it. Or better yet, just flood myself with dopamine, watching other people do the same thing and take their wins as my own. So I've decided to do an experiment with my own life over the next 6 months to see just how much I can evolve in 7 different categories. If you're new here, my name is Amber. I'm a registered nurse. I'm 32 years old, and I have been out of work since the end of February, beginning of March, recovering from a wrist surgery. The surgery really set me back on the goals that I'd set for 2025. The first 2 months of the year, I was making really fantastic progress and had built up a lot of really good habits and routines that I was very proud of myself for. So now that I'm at the tail end of my recovery, I'm really hoping to take the last 6 months of the year to make up for that lost progress that I had. Over the next 6 months, I plan to focus on my physical health, mental health, habits and routines, home and environment, image, intelligence, and hobbies. I have found that so many of the videos I've watched of people changing their life, whether it's over 30 days or 6 months, are people that have already made the change and they are telling you what they did to get there. So I thought it would be nice to document the journey along the way, show you the struggles, and see if we can actually radically transform your life in 6 months. In doing this, I wanted to push myself to be vulnerable, but I also wanted to hold myself accountable. It would be incredibly embarrassing if I fell off halfway through or didn't make any noticeable progress towards my goals by the end of the year. I hope you'll subscribe and follow me on this journey to see how much I can transform my life in 6 months, and stick around towards the end of the video if you want a free Notion template to follow along yourself. Before diving headfirst into planning out the next 6 months or choosing your goals, it's important to sit down and have a truly honest conversation with yourself. This is the time to think about what you really want, not the surface level niceties or the things you want for yourself because that's what you see everyone else has. But on a soul level, what does your dream life look like? If you were to sit down and have a conversation with the 80-year-old version of you, would he or she be proud of the things that you've done so far? What would that version of you be proud of for accomplishing? What would they be disappointed if you went another year without at least attempting? Once you have this vision in mind, sit down and ask yourself, what has been holding you back from this? Not the regular excuses that you always give. Truly sit down, peel back the layers. This is a time for radical honesty with yourself, because if you sit down and give the same excuses and sugarcoat it like you always do, you will continue to live the life that you already have. Is it outside of your comfort zone? Are you afraid of judgment? Or are you simply used to living in your bubble and lack the discipline to achieve your dreams and push yourself towards the life you've always imagined having? You have to be radically honest with yourself about these answers of what's been holding you back. And it's so important to do this without judgment, because if you come at this from a place of self-hate, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to do this coming from a place without judgment in order to find the root cause of what's been holding you back. Only then you can formulate a plan to break past it and fundamentally change your life. I've spent the last month watching as many videos as I could about changing your life and narrowing down the categories which I want to improve over the next 6 months. 7 areas I ended up choosing are all very important to me and will have a very noticeable difference in my day-to-day life if I achieve them over the next 6 months. Because this is an extremely ambitious experiment, I am wanting to set myself up for success by taking baby steps in the beginning and not burning out within a month or two like I normally do. What I have found works for me, the few times I was successful in implementing new habits and change in the past, is introducing, like I said, in baby steps, new ideas, new routines and habits, and building those up steadily over a few weeks while I build confidence and self-trust in myself. By focusing on doing 1% better every day, which is a habit I learned from reading James Clear's Atomic Habits, and doing at least 1 or 2 things every single day that my future self will thank me for, have been something that has helped me the past 2 New Years. I've also tried to rank each of these 7 goals into order of most importance, or what I think will have the most impact on my life over the next 6 months. In a way of saying, if I could only achieve 3 of these goals, which would be the top 3 that I think would have the most lasting impact on my day-to-day life? For this, I chose taking care of my physical health, mental health, and also implementing a solid set of routines and habits. By the end of this year, I would be so extremely proud of myself if I put my physical health at the forefront, led by taking care of my mental health, and then establishing a really solid foundation of habits and routines that could carry me through the rest of next year. These goals will lay a solid foundation for me to continue on with the rest of my goals of this challenge and after the 6 months are over. The goals I've set for my physical health are to lose 25 pounds, which ultimately I would love to lose closer to 50 pounds, but I think 25 pounds is a very sustainable goal over 6 months. I want to reincorporate walking daily. I had started that at the beginning of the year and was doing it every single day, and I felt great when I was doing that. So I would like to start walking daily and build that up to a minimum of 6,000 steps a day. At the end of the 6 months, I am going to get lab work done again, and I would like for that to show that I am no longer insulin resistant. I would also like to stretch daily. And at the beginning of the year, I signed up for the Conqueror Challenge, and I went ahead and paid for 3 Harry Potter medals. And I'm about, I think, a third of the way to my first medal whenever I had to stop walking because of my wrist surgery. So I'm hoping to pick that back up and get at least one of the medals before the end of the year. For my mental health goals, I really want to keep the therapy sessions I've been going to once a week. I really like my therapist. I would also like to start journaling twice a week on top of my therapy sessions. I feel like sometimes I get a lot of really great nuggets of information in my therapy session, and then I just completely forget about it until the next session. So I'd like to start doing that maybe the day after my therapy session and then at the beginning of the week. I would like to start meditating every day on weekdays. It's really hard for me to do on the weekends when my husband's home. So if I could just do it Monday through Friday, that would be really great for my nervous system and my mental health. And I always feel best when I start the mornings with a meditation. I also want to really focus on regulating my nervous system. I have made a lot of improvement since I started seeing my therapist last year, but I can just tell that I'm still so uptight and jumpy, on edge. I'm not sleeping very well. I choke myself out of my sleep. And I know that I would feel a lot better physically and mentally if I could regulate my nervous system. A few months ago, I started a daily diary in Notion where I get on every morning to my Notion and I create a new page. I put in my Oura Ring sleep scores for the night and my allergy levels for the area I live. I do my intentions for the day and a couple other questions. And I get back on at night and I finish answering the questions of the day. And it really just helps me track my joy levels, making sure I'm staying on top of all the things I need to do. I have a daily to-do list on there, and it's just a great way to keep track of everything. Home and environment, I want to declutter my entire house, which is going to be quite the task, so I will probably take it kind of room by room, section by section, but 6 months is a totally reasonable time to declutter and go through all of my belongings. In the same vein, I would like to do a dedicated closet clean out. I have so many clothes, and I do wear a lot of my clothes, but certainly not the extent of what I have. I think doing a dedicated closet clean out in the first month or two will be very beneficial for me. I'd also really like to curate my makeup collection. I worked at Ulta for 4.5 years, and I acquired quite a large makeup collection, and makeup does expire, and I'm at a point now where I'm not wearing makeup the way that I used to. So I just want to make sure that the products I really want to use are at the forefront, and I'm cleaning out anything that's expired. Maybe the thing I'm dreading the most out of everything on my 6-month transformation is a digital declutter. I have so much tech and just a crazy amount of files and videos, and on my phone alone I have, I think, 75,000 photos and videos that need to be gone through. I'd also like to do a really good deep clean on my house. It has been a while, and normally that's something I would do in the spring, but where I was out with my wrist surgery, I wasn't able to get around to that, so I know I'll feel so much better. The last thing on my list is to set up my reading nook. This should be an easier one. I just need to move all of my books from my old bookcase into my new ones upstairs and get a reading chair. For habits and routines, I'm wanting to re-implement my morning and night routines. I want to do a weekly reset on Notion. I want to do a digital detox, at least for a week, if not 30 days. I also want to re-implement a weekly cleaning routine to keep the house tidy so it doesn't get overwhelming. And I want to use my habit tracker and Notion every single day. For image, I am really wanting to curate my personal style. I have a kind of a direction of what I think my personal style is, but I've never been able to just fully nail it down. And I always feel like I'm just out of reach from what I am trying to achieve. Some things I would like to do over the next 6 months are a color analysis is my number one thing I really want to get done. I'm leaning towards doing a virtual one. I want to do a KB body assessment. I want to research what makeup is best for my face shape. By the end of the 6 months, I'd really like to be able to define my personal style. I have long, very long, stick straight hair that doesn't do anything, so I would like to try some new hairstyles that switch it up from either wearing it straight and down or like a half up, half down that I always do. I want to track all the clothing that I wear. I think I may flip the hangers backwards and see what I wear by the end of the 6 months, and that may help me declutter a little bit more of my clothing. And this one seems a little overwhelming, but I would like to upload all of my clothing onto an app so that I can create outfits in the app. For intelligence, I want to maintain my daily streak on Duolingo. I also want to sign up for one Skillshare class or one of those free Harvard classes every month. I would like to start a digital garden and or a second brain in Notion. I want to practice piano daily once my wrist is back to the point where I can comfortably do so. And I want to aim to learn one new topic a week. And finally, for hobbies, I'm hoping to spend 1 hour daily offline doing a hobby that is hands-on. I would also really love to try one new hobby a month. I want to aim to play one video game a month at least. I love playing video games, but I've really fallen out of the habit of it, and I seem to prioritize reading over video games, which I love reading too, and I definitely don't want to give that up. But I'm hoping just pushing myself to play at least one game a month, I will get back in the habit. And finally, I want to watch one new movie a week. I really enjoy movies, but there's something about it. I'm just so resistant to sit down and watch a movie. So I think if I could just push myself to watch one a week, I will be able to knock out a lot on my backlog. So the rules for this challenge, I plan to do a weekly check-in and review at the end of the week. I will go into my Notion template and make sure that I'm on track for my goals, see what I'm supposed to be focusing on for the upcoming week, and track any progress that I've made for previous goals that week. It's also important for me to have some space that there are going to be hard days. There are going to be days that I feel like I have not met any of my goals, and to give myself grace. The two mantras that I really want to carry throughout the challenge is that there are no 2 skips in a row. So if I'm having a bad day, if I'm sick, if I'm out of town, that's fine, but I can't skip something twice in a row. And I also like to focus on doing 1% better every day. In terms of progress and tracking, my idea going into this is that I'm going to do a weekly weigh-in and a weekly photo to see the progress that I'm making. I plan to use MyFitnessPal to track my calories every single day, and I have been using an app called Happy Scale. I think I'm going to continue to use that for weight loss tracking. I want to aim to do habit tracking every single day in my Notion, and then I'm hoping to hit 80% of my habits daily. Like I mentioned, I want to do a weekly journaling reflection in my Notion. I also want to look at my average happiness score over the week to see if I can find any trends on things that may be affecting my happiness. As I've really tried to sit down and think about this and how I want to approach it over the last few weeks to a month, I really have decided that, I don't want this to feel performative. I know a lot of people post these videos online and it feels so good to see them make a radical change in their life, and you want to do it for yourself, but I want to do this for me. I don't want to chase a vision of that girl or put habits and routines into place that I can't successfully keep long term. I really want to embrace the fact that I am somebody that gets overwhelmed fairly easily, and there are going to be hard days. There are going to be days that I'm not going to be able to meet all of my highest standards, and I just want to take a moment in those times to hug myself and give myself some grace, and just know that as long as I keep putting one foot in front of the other, I will make progress. In the past, I have been known for horrible negative self-talk and just tearing myself down in moments of struggle. I've also realized that you don't have to wait until you have completed all the research that you feel that you need, or have every single one of your ducks in a row, every single goal, all of your routines laid out before you start. I think the most important part is to just take the leap, take that first step, and you can continue to cultivate a plan, and things will change and evolve as this process goes on anyways. For me in the past, I know what has been most beneficial is tackling my goals from the top down. And what that essentially means is laying everything out in categories, so a major overarching category, and then breaking that goal down saying, okay, if I want to complete this in the next 6 months, what do I need to complete by the end? And then breaking that down, what do I need to complete each month? And then breaking that down further, what do I need to do every week? And then finally, what do I need to do daily to achieve this goal? That makes it much more attainable and realistic, and for somebody, like I said, that gets extremely overwhelmed, it makes it to where I can focus on this and take it just a baby step at a time. I truly want to transform my life, and not coming from a place of negativity or self-hate. I'm coming at this from a place of self-love and acceptance and wanting the better for myself. I've spent all of my adult life very hard on myself and feel that have not met my high expectations, and very upset with how I have looked physically and always feeling like I could be doing better. I don't want to spend the rest of my life thinking that way. I want to support myself. I want to love myself. I want to be the happiest and healthiest version of myself. And that's not something that's going to happen overnight. And in the past, I've always tried to lose the weight or change my life in some drastic way. And when it doesn't happen within a few days or weeks, I get very frustrated and give up. And it's so important for me to prove to myself that I can do this. Part of this challenge, taking 6 months, is showing up every single day and improving my self-trust, which will in turn eventually lead to a lot more self-confidence. I just left my appointment with the dietitian and it went really well. We are setting a goal for me to track everything in MyFitnessPal every single day with a aim of anywhere from 1,500 to 1,800 calories. And I also have a goal of hitting, we're aiming for 120 grams of protein a day, but a minimum of 100. So I'm very excited about that. We did talk about my insulin, like fasting insulin level being high. So I do definitely have insulin resistance. So I'm doing everything I can to make sure that that does not progress further. I've also talked to him about maybe trying one of those Dexacomps on the back of my arm, at least for a month, just to kind of get a baseline and see how my body is reacting to food and things like that. He also wants me to wait until later in the day to eat, or more so just wait until my body tells me that I'm hungry, and to aim for only 3 to 4 meals a day without any snacking, which I pretty much was already doing anyways, so that shouldn't be too hard to do. I'm just excited to have a plan, and it feels really good to be coming at this from a place of love instead of hating myself. I feel like if I would have walked into this appointment the same time last year and had that same conversation, especially with my insulin level, I would have been really hard on myself and had a lot of negative self-talk. And I've just learned that you cannot become a better version of yourself through hating yourself. You have to do it from a place of love and wanting better for yourself. So I'm ready to hit the ground running and start tracking everything, and I'm excited to see where I am a month from now. So what can you expect from me over the next 6 months? I will be posting monthly updates at the beginning of each month to go over all of the analytics of everything for the previous month and an idea of what I'm focusing on for the month coming up. I also plan to do weekly videos that are diving a little bit deeper into certain topics or goals. And I plan to focus on one overarching category a little bit stronger than others each month. Make sure you subscribe to follow along with the transformation, and I would love to know in the comments below if you plan to do a 6-month transformation with me. I will have the link for the Notion template in the description down below if you plan to follow along with the 6-month transformation yourself. Be sure to check out the Summer Glow Up and Reset that I posted the video just prior to this, and keep an eye out on Sundays for new videos. I'll see you in my next video.